Welcome everyone to the relegation and promotion playoff edition of the Geoguessr Reddit League show. My name is Zotomo and I'm joined as always by Calamity. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing good.
Great, and our extra special guest here for the playoffs is Commissioner Schm1ngo himself. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thank you for coming. You are quite the guest to have on the show, so we get some top level commentary and analysis from the person who runs the league himself. So yeah, let's just jump right in then to Division 1 in the semifinal and relegation battle for them. Yeah, so Schm1ngo, quite well, maybe not even that close of a matchup going into this semifinal.
Yeah, that's true. For me, it was more or less the outcome I expected for both matches, but I didn't expect them to be that clear. I mean, it was a very challenging seed. No one who played the seed got into the 24K area, so that goes to show that it really was a hard seed. And yeah, Redman Mucha did a really good performance there, as for the whole season, basically. I think he has improved a lot since last season, where he finished 8th and had to play the relegation decider. And yeah, for Magyaron, maybe it was just not his day, or he got a bit unlucky with going into the wrong direction into some of the rounds. I don't know. But yeah, it's quite rare to see such a low score from him, as he's a really good player in general. But yeah, he still played a very solid season overall. He got third highest total score in the regular season of Division 1. And I think we can definitely expect to see him around the top 4 again next season. And talking about the other match, Simi versus Equinox, I think Simi had a bit of a rough start to the league. I mean, he put great scores on the board, but the points just didn't seem to come his way as he was maybe used to from the previous season. But he steadily climbed the table and ended up in the 2nd place with the highest total score of Division 1. And yeah, you can't argue with that, I guess. But yeah, we all know he's a very, very good player. He showed that in the semifinal, even though he was not too happy with the score, as you could tell from his comment on Reddit. While Equinox also played a very good season overall, and I think as a player who got promoted from Division 2, and he was never ranked below 5th place this season in Division 1, that's a very good performance. And he got a bit unlucky in the semi, any clues in 2 of the rounds, I think. And yeah, that was crucial for him in the end, but still well played to him. And I think it's going to be interesting to see if he can keep these performances up next season, and if we're going to see him again in the semifinals then.
Yeah, Calamity, your take on the semifinal matchups here in Division 1.
Yeah, before I start, I'd like to say that I will go into the rounds itself that were present in all of the seeds for this week. So, and mostly about who managed to and who didn't manage to pinpoint them, so not into too much detail. But for everyone who wants to go into the upcoming match casts completely blind, and we've got 4 of them if everything goes to plan, so there's a lot of matches coming up, I'd recommend you to come back to the video after they're out. For anyone else, with a lot of the season over and therefore out of the discussion, I have a lot more time to go into depth with all of the seeds. So this division's game started out relatively easy in Alaska. No problem for Raidman, Simi, or Equinox, but Magyaron guessed somewhere in the middle of Alaska, away from any sort of road or the clearly visible body of water to the south of our starting point, which, I don't know, maybe he found out we're in Alaska, like with a little, like with a very short amount of time left, and only had time to basically just click in there, but it was a bad sign of what was to come. We then went over to rural Finland on a road that did have the road number in both directions. Always nice if you can't go the wrong way, but the unexpected place of the road made it hard to find for anyone except Raidman. And then we played a round of can you find these Russian places on the map, which presented us with the answer of no, as none of them managed to pinpoint a rural location close to St. Petersburg, even with signs pointing to reasonably large cities on the map close by. And round 4 brought us back to Brazil, where we've already been this season, and apparently no one except Raidman remembered the Brazilian phone codes 100%, or just didn't find any phone codes, though we were in a pretty big city. And round 5 put us into a pretty easy location near the Peruvian coast that, once again, only Raidman managed to pinpoint, though Simi came close. that leaves us with relatively dominant wins for Raidman and Simi. As Schm1ngo said, probably expected the wins to go their way, but maybe not in such a dominant fashion.
Very nice. Okay, well, let's shift real quickly to the relegation matchup. Chicago Geoguessr just edging out Geography Challenges there. A good win for him. Probably could see this one coming too, Schm1ngo, or a bit of an upset?
I wasn't really sure about this match, how it will go. The battle GC versus CG. And yeah, it turned out to be a really close match between them. And to be honest, I would have loved to see both of them again in D1 next season. But yeah, it had to hit one of them, and this time it was Chicago Geoguessr, who has to go back down to Division 2. But I'm pretty sure that he will play a big role there again next season, as he already knows how to promote from Division 2 to Division 1. So I think he did it once, he can do it again.
CG against GC ended up being decided by a closer guess from GC in Russia, which tipped the scales back into his favor after falling behind a bit in Finland and Brazil. But yeah, very close game. It's always a bit hard or harsh if you've played a whole season, like 9 games I think it was in Division 1, and then everything is decided by 100-something points. But we'll come to closer games than that afterwards. So yeah, Chicago not the worst done by this week by a close game.
Oh, very nice. So unfortunately for him, he'll have to go back down and earn his place back again in Division 1 for him. But congratulations to GC on his staying up after maybe a little bit of a rough season for him. He probably would have liked to have done better. But, well, let's preview the final that will be taking place next week, or over the next week, rather, between Simi and Raidman Mucha. Simi, second place overall last season, second place in the table this season, going into the playoffs. Schm1ngo, do you think he's going to be able to take top place, or is he destined to stay in number 2?
Yeah, well, I think we will find out this week. It's definitely the best 2 players of the season playing against each other in the final, as it should be. We have the players with the highest and second highest total score of their division. So I think you can really expect a tough battle here. They faced off each other quite a while ago in week 1 in Northern Macedonia. And this match actually ended in a draw. They once again had the highest and second highest score in that leg. And Raidman Mucha only scored 76 points more than Simi there. So yeah, it's going to be very close. Looking at the maps, both have chosen for the final. Mucha has chosen Singapore, while Simi went for Mapper's Europe map. And I think that's very interesting map choices, because no one went for their home country this time. And yeah, Singapore is a rather easy country, I would say, as you can find lots of signs and clues there. So I think for both of them, it will be not a big problem to find their locations with a 3-minute timer, but still it's a very small country. So you have to be very precise at pinpointing to not drop any points. And yeah, maybe Mucha sees his advantage there over Simi. Also, as both players are from Europe, I also do not really expect them to struggle a lot with the Europe map either. Simi is definitely an expert when it comes to European architecture, and I guess he played this map many, many times, but we will have to see if it will really give him the edge over Raidman Mucha there. So my prediction is that we will see a decider here on AI-generated world map by Rolling Wheel, which also was played in the semifinals, as you know. And in the semifinals, Raidman Mucha's score was a bit higher than Simi's on AI-generated world. But that doesn't mean that it has to be like that in the final either. So I think it will be very interesting, and I think we're going to see very close results on any of these maps. And my prediction would be that Simi will come out as the winner after all.
Okay, just to clarify for any of you who aren't following the league too closely, the final in Division 1 is a 3-leg matchup, or a best of 3, and each player does get to pick one map of their own, with the world map being the decider at the end. So that's what Schm1ngo was talking about there. Calamity, your thoughts on these two?
Yeah, the They were both neck to neck all season, and yeah, in the end, only separated by 230 points in their score difference as well. It's 3 points, but those don't really matter for the comparison. Yeah, I agree with Schm1ngo that the map choices are very interesting. Simi won his map choice of Czechia against Topodic last year, so I wonder why he changed from that to the Europe map. And yeah, Raidman Mucha with Singapore is also a very interesting choice. It's pretty much just a big city with relatively well signed. So it'll probably entirely come down to pinpointing unless you get one round where one of them makes a big mistake. And yeah, he probably just sees himself as the favorite in that. And yeah, I think it's hard to decide who of the two will win. Both of them, as I've said before, were very close in score difference. Both of them made one mistake pretty much all season, like had one game that was like 20k and everything else was close to perfect scores. Yeah, I agree with Schm1ngo that we'll probably see the decider map as long as both of them had a clear idea in mind about why they picked their own home map. And yeah, we'll see next week how that goes.
Indeed, it will be quite a Christmas treat as the first two maps will be wrapping up on Christmas Eve, with the decider map to be played by the 27th if it's needed. So we could definitely either see a winner in time for Christmas, or you'll get a little bit of an early present, or maybe a late present rather, with an extra map to have to watch. Very nice. Okay, well, let's take a look at the Division 2 decider matches. On the world map, for our promotion battle, we had Giovanni, or Symphalyx, and Tall Impala. Tall Impala, a really, really rough game, Calamity.
Yeah, just 2 points is it's a bit annoying. Yeah, but again, I'm gonna talk through the seed as a whole. And it left Benica on lost ground pretty early. He made some costly mistakes in round 1 and round 2 in Indonesia and Malaysia, so Radox was pretty much clear from there. But for everyone else, the match was decided in round 3 to 5. Benica lost some additional points in Senegal, but his chances were already slim to none at that point, so that didn't really matter that much. Which leaves us with Russia and Spain, which, funnily enough, no one managed to pinpoint either. Yet everyone was sort of equidistant in how wrong they were, which made for an incredibly close match between Giovanni and L49. Yeah, it's extra heartbreaking for L49, considering his Division 2 promotion decider last season ended almost as close in his disfavor as this one. Yeah, Radox ended with a score just a couple hundred points behind the two, and safely secured his place in Division 2 for next season.
Yeah, Schm1ngo, your thoughts on this Division 2 decider matches?
Yeah, it was for me clear from the beginning that the match Symphalyx versus Tall Impala is going to be a close match. Both players were only separated by 1 point in the standings and 500 points in score difference throughout the whole season. And they faced off each other in week 10 in Puerto Rico, where they pulled off the highest and second highest score of the division, while only being separated by 17 points in score there. So yeah, it was clear that it's going to be close, but I didn't expect it to be that close. And yeah, it's really brutal to lose by 2 points and seeing the promotion fade away once again for Tall Impala. Both would have deserved to play in Division 1 next season, definitely. But in the end, it's Giovanni who moves up again, and Tall Impala will have to take another attempt on promoting next season. As for the relegation decider, for me, Radox was the favorite here, as he's generally stronger on world maps, and he also beat Benica on a balanced world in week 6 this season. And also Benica was running on a streak of 8 consecutive matches without a win. So yeah, Radox was the favorite for me, and in the end, it was quite a clear win for Radox, who played really well in this leg and managed to stay alive in Division 2 through the relegation decider for the second time in a row now.
Yeah, very nice. And I know one person who will be very happy to see Radox stay up in Division 2. Calamity is you, and we'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, Radox having kind of probably the favored map choice for the decider match on a world map, where he does some of his best work for sure. Again, over 24,000 on this one. Yeah, and Tal Impala probably just unlucky that the map is not a country map, the opposite of Radox, because he tends to put in a lot of practice, and you can't do that as clearly as you can on a world map. So that does just cost him a few points. But again, Russia proving to be the bane of everybody in Geoguessr. When you get a rural location with not a whole lot of information, those can be really heartbreaking to have to face and try to figure out how to deal with. But congratulations, Giovanni. We'll see you in Division 1 next year. And congrats to Radox on staying up. As we move on to Division 3, Calamity, very happy to see Radox staying, because I know you have wanted to play him, and you'll get that chance next season after your win. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. Radox was pretty much like my first friend, I'd say, in once I came over to the Discord community. So I've been looking forward to playing against him for a while. We used to, like in season 1, when I still didn't have a pro account, he used to just send me seeds to practice, and I pretty much beat him most of the time in them. And then he made fun of me because I'm still in Division 3 while he's in Division 2. So now that that's changed, I'm ready for some wins against him. But yeah, it was a very close games in Division 3. Generally, both of them were. It was a very Europe-centric seed, probably to the disfavor of Hugo, who would have much preferred some locations in South America. It took us to mountainous France, Denmark, and European Turkey, alongside Eswatini and Taiwan. Both matches actually came down pretty much to one round on the losing side. Hugo Alvara had Turkey, and Wakelock had Denmark, where both of them lost about 450 points to their direct opponents, which sealed their fate if you look at the difference in the overall score. The other 3 rounds weren't completely straightforward, like Freckles lost quite a few points in France, for example, and there was always one person who didn't quite get the location, but none of them decided the outcome of the games quite that much.
I see. Schm1ngo, your take on Division 3.
Yeah, first of all, congratulations to Calamity for
Thank
the
you.
promotion. After having all the bad luck last season, you definitely deserve it to go up to Division 2 now. And also when accounting for you having the highest total score once again in Division 3. But also Hugo Alvara, as a newcomer to the league, played a really good season, you have to say. Many would have probably expected Wolf Tracker instead of him, taking the place in the promotion decider. But I think that just goes to show how competitive Division 3 is, and that you should not underestimate anyone there. So yeah, fair play to him. He was just roughly 300 points off from promotion this time. So we see what he can put on the table next season. And as for the relegation decider, also both of these players' scores were extremely close to the scores Calamity and Hugo Alvara achieved in the promotion decider. So that's yet another proof for the competitiveness of this division. But yeah, in the end, Freckles took the win after losing against Wakelock actually in Puerto Rico during the regular season. But as we all know, Freckles is a very experienced player and is part of the community for a long time now. And he constantly shows that when it comes to world maps. So I expected him to win this match, but Wakelock was a more than worthy opponent and made it a very close call. And I think Freckles had to put everything into this match in order to avoid dropping down from the 2nd division to 4th division.
Indeed, yeah. Freckles had a very good run of form towards the back end of the season that boosted him up into that relegation decider spot, and proved to make all the difference as he does come out in the end over Wakelock. Well, it's a bit of unfortunate for him. He'll have to drop down to Division 4, which means I have to play him next season, which I don't know if I'll be happy about, but we'll see how it goes. So yeah, so that wraps it up for the divisions. Thank you all for the great season. We had lots of great matches. We're really happy to have so many videos from you all come in that we were able to cast, me and Calamity. And yeah, we look forward to next season. With that in mind, let's move over to our next segment, which is why we have Schm1ngo here. We're going to grill him. So we have an interview with Schm1ngo coming right up. Okay, so we're here with Commissioner Schm1ngo himself to interview him about how the Reddit League has gone for season number 2. So I think, Calamity, we're going to start with a question from you.
All right. So, Schm1ngo, what made you want to host a tournament like the Reddit League in the first place, and how did you come up with the idea?
Well, I just thought it would be a cool addition to all those ongoing tournaments we already had on the subreddit, because I feel like it has a kind of different touch to it with these 1v1 matchups and the long-term character of it. So I just wanted to try and see if such a long-term league system could work for a game like Geoguessr. And I think after the first 2 seasons, we can definitely say that it works.
Yeah, definitely does work. A great idea. How much time exactly do you spend week to week managing the league, updating the spreadsheets and generating seeds and all of that?
Yeah, that's kind of hard to say. I would say probably not as much as you guys spend for your channel. But the biggest chunk of work actually is prior to the season, when I set up the divisions, when I set up the schedule and all the fixtures. And the really week-to-week workload depends also on which map we're going to play and how long it takes to get suitable seeds, because some maps can have a lot of blurry coverage or tracker views or whatever. So it really depends, but I would say not longer than 1 or 2 hours per week.
Okay. So you go into each seed and probably not actually play it, but just check real quick that at least the spawn location is a decent camera quality and whatnot?
Yeah, that's true. I just check whether we have generation 1 coverage, or if it's a tracker or an ARI. And I also make sure that it's not some cut up coverage where you can't travel long ways. So yeah, that's basically what I do.
Now that you say that, I don't know if you remember, but the Division 2 seed of Kyrgyzstan had a location that was about, I don't know, 500 meters both ways that you could travel, and it was cut off there in both directions.
Yeah.
Were you aware of that, or did you think that location should still be fine? They can find the right solution for that?
No, I must have missed that.
Okay.
I wasn't aware of that.
But Kyrgyzstan was hard to begin with because there was lots of broken coverage. So, I mean, it was a very small segment of road that the seed was on, but there's lots of roads that you couldn't exactly travel the entire distance. So, not unique to the location, I think. But yeah.
Okay, next question. Did you expect the tournament to get as big as it did? I mean, considering right now we've got, I think, about 50 people taking part, and there's still, like, every season there's more people wanting to join and asking when the next sign up is and everything.
Yeah, no, I absolutely didn't expect that. When I made the first announcement actually about my idea on the subreddit, many people were quite skeptical and told me how much work I would have to put into it, and that there are going to be problems with the long-term motivation of the players. And I think some of them also remember the old Reddit League, which was hosted in 2017, I think, and never continued after season 1 for some reason. So no, I didn't expect so many people to join for the first season. I kind of calculated with maybe 20 players I would seed into 2 divisions. And yeah, after the first preseason, we ended up with around 40 players in 4 divisions. And as you said, in season 2, we are now at 50 players. And I think the fact that the Reddit League posts have been constantly stick to the top of the subreddit for about 8 months now definitely helped a lot in advertising the league, and as well as your esports channel for sure. And so yeah, we can definitely expect even more players to join for season 3, and I'm looking forward to it.
Is there like a maximum limit that you think we shouldn't go above in terms of players?
Well, I haven't thought about a hard maximum, a hard limit, but we still have to ask ourselves if it's still going to be fun if we have like 8 divisions or something, if it's still the same, and if people still enjoy playing for promotion into Division 6 or something. But I think we're going to have to talk about that when it really comes to that point.
Indeed, yeah. So how to handle large numbers of players is probably the biggest challenge something like this is going to face. Besides just creating more leagues, is there any way of not leagues, more divisions? Have you thought about maybe making different actual leagues where there's like a regional league and then divisions? Or do you want to keep it as one league?
For now, I would like to keep it as one league. I haven't really thought about, you mean like dividing players into North America, Europe, or how do you mean it?
Oh, I mean, we could even just make up league names, but I mean something like that to kind of spread out, especially if it gets so popular, it's going to be really tough to decide who goes where. But just curious. Sorry.
Yeah. I don't know. We could think about that if the player count really gets massively high. But I think this league system can take probably 5 or 6 divisions of players and would still be fun. Yeah, if it goes above that, then maybe we should think about splitting everything up a little bit. Yeah.
Mm.
Good. Well, then next question. What do you think of the level of competition across the divisions? Because you have the kind of monumental task of trying to decide who is in what division, especially with newcomers who didn't play in the previous season. So you have to figure out where to put people and all of that. So are you happy with how that kind of worked out in the end?
Yeah, that's a very hard task, actually. I think in general, the level of competition is very high. You can see how much practice a lot of people put into the league. And you can see that there's also a lot of good players in the lower divisions, as they sometimes have really great scores in the Division 1 seats when they use them for practice as well. And I think the level of competition did increase with the newcomers this season, even after losing some well-known and very good players like Topotic and Rolling Wheel. And yeah, it's hard to always seed the players into the right, quote unquote, right divisions. But yeah, all I can do is use the preseason results and try to make the best out of it.
All right, next question. What are your plans for the future of the tournament? Like, do you want to make a lot of changes to the format or keep it largely the same? And how long do you see it continuing into the future?
Basically, I see the league continuing as long as people enjoy it and enough people are interested to play it. So for me, there is no end in sight. If I want to stop organizing it at some point, then even someone else could take over. So I don't see any problems or any reason why the league should stop in the near future. Maybe at some point, Geoguessr itself will lay its focus more on esports and competitive formats and all that stuff, and make like these spreadsheet-based Reddit tournaments or leagues like this one obsolete. But yeah, we'll see. That's something we'll find out in the future. But for season 3, I definitely have plans to change the preseason system in some way. It's not really clear as of yet in which way, but we just can't play the same locations for the 3rd time now. And yeah, besides that, there's also a discussion thread on the subreddit. I linked to it on my latest post for the Reddit League. So if you haven't checked that one out, I would really encourage you to do that. And also take part in the discussion there, because it's important for me to see the opinions of many participants, yeah, about certain rule changes. So we can find the best solutions to improve the Reddit League experience for everyone. And I think one sort of dream for some time in the future would be to have a championship final casted live on Twitch. I think that would be really nice to watch. And of course, it highly depends on who makes it to the final, and whether the participants would be up for it. But I think everybody would enjoy watching that.
Yeah, I can tell you right now, that's quite a task to accomplish. As we've spent the last season trying to cast games and collect videos and stuff, but certainly would be a dream for us as well to see something like that happen. So let's push for it. Is what I should say. Yeah, on my my last question kind of is more meta. But the spreadsheet you make for the Reddit League is very impressive. How exactly did you learn how to do all of that?
Well, I just use Excel a lot for the university and for my work. So I learned the basics there and just Googled the rest I didn't know. So I think there's way more advanced stuff you could do with Excel. So the spreadsheet is still kind of basic, but yeah, that's how I got my knowledge basically.
Very nice. Yeah, I would love to see some kind of system to help us keep track of all this stuff and make it easier for you than simply putting stuff into Excel sheets. But it is impressive nonetheless. So, Calamity, any last questions that have come up for you?
No, that does it for me.
Okay. Well, that will do it for me as well then. Thank you very much, Schm1ngo, for coming and chatting with us about the season and the future of the Reddit League. Yeah, we all looking forward to season 3 already, even though we still have a week to go. But we're all excited and we can't wait. So hopefully we can see all of you next season in season 3. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.